Welcome to Full Scope, a podcast designed to analyze the games that we love, the headlines of music, and the movies we can't forget. I'm your host, Wellington Burns. I'm joined by a special guest, Rickey Duffey Jr., a digital creator, also a youth football coach, league coach, and also, is it youth basketball as well?
Yes,
Yeah, man. I appreciate you being on for the first time.
indeed, man. I appreciate the invite. Thank you.
Absolutely. And this is a new segment that I've been doing for the podcast called Life Lessons, where I, interview different artists, coaches, creatives, all that. But I kind of want to talk to you about like what motivated you to start coaching youth sports from the jump, and just like what drew you to kind of get into that field.
I think my biggest motivation at the time was my son.
Mm,
I taught high school drumline for a while, but once my boys turned 5 and they were able to start playing basketball and football, I kind of stepped down and let the drum line go and wanted to be able to work with my sons. But for me, um, working with youth and young kids is always been a passion of mine. It's always been like ministry for me. I worked in the school system for about 10 years.
mm.
So, being able to work with those kids and once I left from working in the schools, coaching really gave me an opportunity to still be able to teach and work with the youth and help these kids out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, I think because I watch a lot of I watch a lot of basketball in general, but especially with college
Mhm.
basketball, I see like the one and done era where I'm not judging it. I mean, obviously, get your bread if you can, but I'm also see like a quick route for a lot of these players where it's just like just get it. Like, what do you think about that new era? I mean, it's not really a new era. It's something we're seeing, especially with the NILs, we're seeing more of it. Like, what do you think about that era of just like not even staying in college more than 1 year?
The way we grew up, it was all about competing and winning. And don't get me wrong, I get it for a lot of these kids that, they may have struggled coming up. That's a way for these guys to be able to take care of their families and provide for their families. I understand that.
That's
I mean,
admirable.
I don't have a problem with it, but I'm kind of old school. I'm that guy that said, nah, we're gonna stick this out. We're gonna
Yeah,
grind, we're gonna
we got to
work
come
hard,
back.
we're gonna compete. Yeah, yeah, we gotta do this. And
Yeah.
so for me, like I said, I can understand both sides. So, hey, if it leads you to an opportunity to make more money and be able to provide for your family, I'm all for it. But,
Yes.
as far as college goes, even though you make that money, I tell my boys all the time, hey, listen, that's cool. We could get the money, but we're gonna get that degree too.
For
So,
sure. Yeah. You got to get the
what they
degree.
can say. Yeah.
To me, you got to get the degree. I mean, like that's why you go to college. That's why you try to expand. Even I think even Steph Curry, he went back to go get his Davidson degree at a certain point, or I think his
Hmm.
master's or something.
Right.
So it's just I really believe like that's the next level for players. But I kind of wanted to get into to the process because like the week to week process, I bet that's like kind of a grinding, grueling thing. Is it's just like every week sometimes you have different motivation, different levels. Sometimes you have teams that they overlook because they're looking for another team, looking ahead at another team. Like what is that week to week process like? That kind of like day to day grind.
Man, it's definitely busy. It's a lot of sacrifices,
Yeah.
but the reward in the end is real big. I love working with the younger age group because of the fact that 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 age group,
Mm.
that's really where you got to lay that foundation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Sure.
saying? The basic fundamentals, whether it's football, whether it's basketball, ball handling, for football, the right form of how to tackle,
Mm.
you know what I'm saying? How to get down in the 3-point stands
Mm.
or how to line your feet up on the free throw line and be able to shoot free throws.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Beef.
It,
How
you
they used to say beef. Balance eyes, elbow
Right,
follow through.
right. You want them to have fun and you're gonna make it fun for them, but at the same time, you
Yeah.
gotta set that foundation because a lot of times you see once they get to middle school and high school, if they don't have that foundation, man, it's hard for them to survive in any sport. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You see some kids sometimes they can't make a left hand layup, or you see some football players get to high school and they can't get down in the 3-point stands. And
They-
for me, that's a lack of fundamentals. That's a lack of foundation. And at
Yeah.
that early age group is really when you have to set that tone. So, you
They
know,
can't
that's
make a
that's
left-handed
that.
layup. They can't make a left-handed layup, but they'll pull up for a three out of where it's just so crazy. I just see it all the time. I'm like, why are y'all just? And again, I don't get me wrong. I love. I think it's interesting. I think Steph Curry has like transcended the game, but also not. It's
Absolutely.
not his fault, but he's hurt the game in a sense. Not. It's not him. It's just like he's done things that players think they can do and they actually can't because he's just so different. It's like you can't do
Absolutely.
What Steph Curry's doing. Like that man is just
Absolutely.
different. Like. And we
Yeah.
see we obviously we see players like Damian Lillard do it, but it's like only a certain level of guys can do that. Like not
Right.
everybody needs to shoot those
Right.
shots.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. And for Steph Curry, I think it's hurt the game in a way that you see him shoot the crazy shots. You see him shoot the threes all the time. But what a lot of the kids now don't understand is they don't understand the work that this man puts in behind the scenes.
his offseason workouts, I heard that some players can't even handle. They're like, bro, how do you do this?
Insane. And
He's so conditioned.
yeah, my sons and I will sit in the house and we'll watch YouTube. My oldest, he loves watching videos on these guys. And, we watched the Steph Curry video, and Steph Curry will go in one of his workouts and he will make 500 shots before he leaves.
Yeah.
Not shoot,
Yeah, he's like,
make
I'm making like, I'm
500
not
shots.
going back to the crib until I make 500. He's
Right.
like,
And
I'm not going.
it's crazy because we just got a shooting machine here at the church, and Coach Jose, Mr. Do Work,
Yeah,
we were in here shooting around the day, and we put up 500 shots on the machine.
yeah.
But by the time we was done, we only made like right at 200 of them, and that was like an hour and a half. So I'm like, man,
Yeesh.
to make 500 shots.
Come on,
Yeah. So
man.
when you see Steph shooting those shots, it's not, he's just not making it up on the fly.
No,
This
not at
man
all.
really puts in that work. And I wish more of our young kids get to see and hear about the behind the scenes and go have the opportunity to see these guys work out like the Steph Currys and the LeBron
Mhm.
James, Dame Lillard. See what those boys do off the court.
Yeah.
And then you can really understand what happens when they're on the court, why it looks like it's so easy for Steph to go out there, hit 12, 13 threes in a game.
And just look
Well,
away and just look away like it's
yeah,
nothing. Like, but that's my thing. Like,
right.
even over the pandemic, I really loved the Last Dance documentary because I was like, I was so glad.
Absolutely.
Again, there were parts of it I didn't even know. I didn't know like the how Scottie Pippen was shortchanged all that. But it was just like just to
Yeah,
see that specifically the offseason after the Pistons kept beating him and how he had to like gain muscle. Like that was one of the biggest
right.
transformations ever. Because like if he doesn't
Mhm.
beat the Pistons, we may never see a dynasty. You know what I
You're
mean? Like
absolutely
you know what I
correct.
mean? Like
Yeah,
that's the mark. So it's like Michael Jordan, the best player of all time, said I got to get bigger. I have to. Unless these guys are just
yeah,
gonna beat me up, and and they
yeah,
still beat him up. But he's like, I'm gonna beat you guys. You know what I mean? So it's just
yeah.
like he had to do that. So
Yeah, and
that yeah,
I think for Mike, it wasn't just him getting in that weight room. It was a
the
mental
mental
thing.
yeah, it was the mental bit. It's
You
the
know what I'm
mental bit.
saying? I got to get
It's
tougher
the big
mentally. I
brother
got
little
to get
brother thing. Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
that's another thing I try to teach my kids both basketball and football.
How is
Is
the mental aspect for them? How's the mental? Is the mental? Because obviously we know like in today's day and age, the mental part of life is just one of the biggest things. More so that we're seeing even compared to like just
Mhm.
regular like the physical. Like how much is that a big aspect for the players? Like the mental side of things.
I always teach my kids whether it's football or basketball. It's always to me it's 80% mental and 20% physical.
Yeah.
You could be one of the most talented kids in the world,
Mm,
but if you don't have that mental toughness, that work ethic, I'm a sacrifice, I'm gonna work hard, that talent will only take you so far. And
yeah.
so, I try to teach my kids that. I try to drill it in their head however I can. That mental toughness is really what's going to set you apart. And that work ethic and making the sacrifices behind the scenes, that's really what's going to set you apart. So,
Definitely.
I don't feel like at the age of 7 and 8 and 9, it's too early to teach those
Oh
lessons. You know
no.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I like to incorporate, I teach the game, both basketball and football, but I teach life lessons within the game
Yeah, for
because those
sure.
same skills that you have to learn with being mentally tough and having great work ethic and being respectful and making sacrifices. You got to do it on and off the court, on and off the field. You got to do it in the classroom.
Yeah.
Eventually,
Sportsmanship
when
as
you
well.
get to, yeah, sports,
Because I saw
absolutely.
that with LeBron early in his career. This was like,
Mhm.
I think this was back in '08 or '09. He said something like, he lost the Celtics and he didn't shake their hands and he was like, "Oh man, like they're like, why didn't you do it?" He's like, "Well, I mean, if somebody beats you up, you don't shake their hands." And I think that was before LeBron was refined. That was before LeBron knew because he wasn't coached well. He wasn't media trained well. But he knows now. Like, I mean, you got to shake the player's hand. Like, you can't like just
Right,
be a sore loser because it's like if
right.
somebody beats you, you tip your hat, like, "Hey man, you beat me." But like, you don't just like walk off the court without shake or the field without shaking their hands. You just
Hmm.
even Tom Brady did that against the Giants, and I was like, he's one of my favorite players ever. I'm like, and they beat you twice. You got to give them credit. You got to give them
Right.
credit. You know what I
Got
mean? So
to,
yeah,
got to. So yeah, we were real big on sportsmanship. For me, and coaching predominantly black kids, that's one thing I always try to teach them kids with sportsmanship. Hey, this is your brother. I don't care if you come from a different family. At the end of the day, these are your brothers. And the biggest thing for us is accountability. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? Even with sports, hey, cool. They won. Give them their props. Shake hands.
yeah,
Because the funny thing is, like with these younger kids, the crazy thing is, win or lose, after the game is all said and done, they don't really care. They going to be friends. They going to the concession stand.
yeah,
They going to play football on side.
yeah.
They
They're
at
gonna
the
play 2K. They're gonna
playground.
play 2K at the crib.
Right. And so, that's the thing with these kids, man. The sportsmanship is really easy to teach because, a lot of them go to school together. They play football together, they play basketball together, they see all of their friends on other teams. So, it's pretty cool for those kids, and they do pretty well with the sportsmanship thing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we get to break, I did want to. I mean, obviously, so you do coach your sons, right? You do
Right.
coach. Obviously, I mean, we've seen it very like publicly with Deion Sanders and him saying like when he coaches his sons, he's, hey, I'm. Sometimes when he talks to him, it's like, hey, I'm talking. They ask him, are you talking to me as a coach, or are you talking to me as dad? Like which one are you talking to me as? Like what's the bounds of that? Like to coaching your sons, like and sometimes when it's obviously you know them so well, you know them every day. Like what's that
Mhm.
like?
So I'm gonna be honest. In the beginning, for me, it was a struggle. It was a struggle.
Yeah,
I had to learn how to separate dad from coach
yeah,
because as dad, I want my boys to develop and get better. So we working out at the house, we working out, we go to the field, or we'll go to the gym, work out. But then they got to see that same guy when we get to practice or when we get to the game.
oh
And
man, come on, Dad.
yeah, yeah, and I'm that passionate coach. I'm a yell, I'm a fuss, I'm gonna go off. When you do it right, I'm gonna yell even louder to cheer you on. But when you
Yeah,
mess up, I'm gonna cheer you out. And so, I really had to learn how to balance that. And so now I'm starting to balance it to where, okay, cool. Y'all still got me as a coach, but when it ain't no basketball being played, when it ain't no football, man, y'all come on. We're gonna sit in the couch and we just gonna watch movies, or we'll watch basketball or
yeah,
football games, or
yeah.
like, last weekend, say, man, listen, we don't have no games this weekend, no tournaments, no workouts, no none of that. Cool. We going out of town Friday. We're gonna go and visit some of our family.
That's
So
awesome.
it's
Yeah,
just
family
it's
time.
just father and sons. We just going to hang out. And so,
Yeah,
I'm starting to learn that it was rough in the beginning trying to balance all that. So
yeah.
yeah,
I don't know if
you
you ever watched the
definitely
show.
have to balance it.
I don't know if you ever watched the show Friday Night Lights, but there's this one season where it's like this new quarterback and the dad is like just so involved in the son's life, and the coach is like telling him, "Hey man, like I'm his coach, like like let me
Yeah,
coach him, like I know you're his dad, but
yeah.
don't like scream from the sidelines, dude." Like sometimes I feel like parents they can be too involved, and that's like
Hmm.
which is tough. I mean, I've never been a parent, but like I know like that's got to be tough to like be that heavily involved in your kids' development. We're gonna take
Right.
a quick break and we'll be right back.